I'm Selin. In this video, we are going to cover qualitative analysis in discrete facility location problems. First of all, what is qualitative analysis? It's the process of evaluating potential sites based on factors that cannot be easily measured in tangible units. The goal is to convert subjective opinions into numerical scores so that different locations can be compared side by side. Other techniques are quantitative analysis and hybrid analysis. In this video, I'm not going to talk about them, but you can find our videos on these topics in the playlist. I want to talk about some of the factors that impact facility location decisions. One of them is availability of skilled workforce and government regulations and land price. Of course, you want your land to be as cheap as possible. But then you have to consider transportation. Let's say that you found this perfect place, but it's located in the middle of a desert. How are you going to manage transportation there then? You have to consider community attitudes. Maybe people are angry that you are building your facility there because they are worried about the environmental impact. Or maybe they are happy because you are creating job opportunities for them. And of course, proximity to customers and suppliers and infrastructure readiness, energy, internet, water, all important for a healthily operating facility. And you have to consider quality of life. Let's say that you found this really cheap land and it's easy to transport there, and your customers and suppliers are close by, but it's a place where the crime rates are high, and people don't want to work there, right? And then you have to consider global trade and currency risks also. Why is it so popular? Because it's simple, flexible, adaptable, and you are going to see this later in the case study that we are going to solve, but it's really great at handling binary constraint, which means that it's great at eliminating the factors that aren't really important, I guess, in a way. And this analysis provides a holistic view. It turns your gut feelings into a structured numerical framework. I want to talk about the method of factor rating, also called location scoring. This is the most popular qualitative tool because it's really easy to use. It's a multi-criteria decision-making tool, an MCDM tool. This method allows us to evaluate a single decision based on multiple and often conflicting criteria simultaneously, and it reflects the decision maker's priorities by using weights. Maybe I think that transportation is the most important factor, but some might think that government regulations are the most important factors that we have to consider. It depends on the decision maker's personal opinion, and by using weights, it ensures that the organization's specific strategic goals and values are directly integrated into the final model. Let's go over the steps. Step one is identifying the factors. Secondly, we are going to assign weights. We are going to determine the importance of each factor, and the total sum must be equal to 1. Then, for the third one, we are going to score candidates by assigning a score. This score must range from 1 to 100, and they are going to be assigned to each location for each and every factor. Then, lastly, we are going to calculate weighted total. We are going to do this by multiplying scores by weights and summing them up. Here's a little case study, global flagship selection for BLS fashion. As industrial engineers, we are tasked with selecting a global distribution and retail hub. The brand BLS Fashion is ready for global expansion. We are choosing a location for our first global flagship store. We have 3 candidates: Paris, New York, and Istanbul. Step 1, we are going to select the factors and four factors that we are going to consider in this case study are supply chain proximity, logistic infrastructure quality, labor technical proficiency, and regularity and trade compliance. Step 2, we are going to assign the weights. We prioritize time to market and system reliability. So supply chain proximity is going to be 0.4, and then logistic infrastructure is going to be 0.3. Then labor proficiency is going to be 0.2. And the last one is regularity compliance, which is going to be 0.1. These are our weights for each factor. Here's our decision matrix. As you can see, the factors are listed, the weights are listed, and for each factor and for each city, we assign scores. Again, this score assignment is highly subjective, as well as the weights. So we are going to multiply the scores by the weights. So we are going to find the scores for each city and each factor. For example, for Paris, the supply chain proximity is going to be 38, and logistic infrastructure for Istanbul is going to be 24, and trade compliance for New York City is going to be 8.5. So we are going to sum the scores to reach a total score. This is going to be how we are going to make our decision. We are going to choose the highest score. In this case, as you can see, Istanbul wins with a total score of 90.5, followed by Paris, and the last one is New York City. Let's analyze the results. Our decision matrix reveals that New York still leads in logistic infrastructure but lacks local supply chain proximity for high-end textile. And Paris offers a balanced profile but doesn't provide a specific operational edge in our weighted categories. Istanbul wins. It's our optimal site with a total score of 90.5. It achieved a perfect score in supply chain proximity, which was 100. For an industrial engineer, this means that a significant lead time reduction and lower total acquisition cost by utilizing the local manufacturing cluster. By selecting Istanbul, we optimize our supply chain for agility and responsiveness. Of course, while we focused on the factor rating method in this video, there are other tools. If we need more mathematical precision, we use AHP, another MCDM method. And if we want to avoid bias from a single manager, we use a Delphi method for expert consensus. Each method has its place depending on how much data and time we have, of course. And there are some limitations of the analysis. One, and the most important one in my opinion, is the subjectivity bias. Scores and weights rely on human judgment rather than facts, making this model prone to personal bias. And the second one is the compensation fallacy. A high score in a minor category can mathematically mask a fatal flaw in a critical category. This is something we also don't want, because maybe we are going to be like, oh, the prestige is high, but we are going to ignore safety, which we can't. Third one is weight sensitivity. The final ranking is often fragile. A really small shift in weight can flip the optimal choice, leading to instability. Fourth one is static snapshot, which means that This analysis fails to account for dynamic shifts in the global economy or regulations. Fifth and the last one is variable interdependency. It incorrectly assumes that all factors are independent, but whereas in real life industrial engineering problems, all these factors are often deeply linked. In conclusion, we have seen that choosing a location for a brand like BLS Fashion is a complex engineering challenge. While New York and Paris are world-class cities, Istanbul emerged as our winner because it perfectly matched our most important technical criteria, supply chain proximity. However, we must remember that this model is only a small guide. As engineers, as industrial engineers, our job is to look beyond the final score. We must account for the model's limitations, which cannot be ignored. We must perform sensitivity analysis and never ignore the financial reality. Ultimately, a successful facility location is one that balances operational efficiency with long-term strategic vision. Thank you so much for listening. We prepared a little quiz for you about this topic. You can access it by scanning this QR code. And I hope you solve it and send the results. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we will see you in the next videos.